Scene Daily and SpeedTV.com have teamed up to form the most powerful online news in NASCAR. Visit SpeedTV.com now for in-depth analysis, breaking news, and more. Take a look at this shot.
I love that shot. This is under caution. We talk about how smooth Dover is. Look how much travel is in that truck under caution. And that just goes to show you what an important piece of the puzzle those 4 shock absorbers are, Rick. They've really got to smooth that ride out for these trucks so they can keep that gas right next to the floorboard almost all the way around this place.
You know, guys, we talk about putting spring rubbers in springs, and that's what that is right there. That is a spring rubber inserted in that right rear spring of Mike Skinner's truck.
And the reason why that's in there now is because if they want to make an adjustment to that truck, if it's too loose or too tight, they want to pull a rubber or do some track bar work, they have options. They don't just have a spring in there. They have something that they can adjust. Ray, what's happening with the 10 truck?
Well, he came to pit road, Michael, on lap 18. He was really loose. They wanted to tighten him up. So 2 rounds down on the track bar and pulled a little bit of tape off of the front. We also saw Terry Cook on pit road with similar adjustments.
So Kyle Busch and Ron Hornaday, 1 and 2. Ryan Scott, Colin Brown, Johnny Sauter, your top 5. Johnny Benson, Brian Eichler, Chad McCumbee, David Starr, and Stacy Compton, your top 10. As they come to the start-finish line, green flag back in the air. Look at Ron Hornaday look to the inside of Kyle Busch on the restart.
How about that? Now Ron Hornaday says, I'm going to get that lead back.
And he does. He clears Kyle Busch. He's able to pull up in front of him.
Kyle Busch might be a little gun shy after the last restart he had in the Nationwide Series race. He shot up the racetrack.
I'm not sure he's going to be gun shy of about anything as he goes back around Ron Hornaday on the outside to take the lead back.
Ron didn't even get to lead the whole lap. He didn't lead any of the lap. He didn't get credit for leading that lap, darn it.
You only get credit at the start-finish line, and it was Kyle Busch once again that crossed the start-finish line first, so he was credited with leading that lap.
Because of all these caution laps, NASCAR now has moved the competition caution to lap 45.
That could be some good news for Mike Skinner and Todd Bodine. Some of those cats that have made some pit stops and some adjustments, they might be able to claw their way back through this field, get inside the top 10, top 5, so when that competition yellow does fly, they'll have all their track position back.
Look at Todd. He's on the outside. That blue truck, that Copart Toyota on the outside of Taylor Malsom.
Way up there in the 3rd groove. I mean, he wasn't even worried about the 2nd groove anymore. He went right to the 3rd.
I'm not sure that was his intention. Now he's back down towards the middle of the racetrack. That's a 31 of Scott Wimmer, a brand new team, Wintron Racing. Wolfpack Reynolds on board that. They're going to try to run up to a half a dozen races this year. Kevin Sawinski and his guys involved with that. A regular ARCA team moving up to the Truck Series.
And they had a lot of success already this year in the ARCA Series, winning 2 races with James Buescher behind the wheel, both Daytona and then again, I believe, at Kentucky.
That's right.
Wimmer's on the outside of Malfa, makes that pass. Truck's looking good.
Here comes Mike Skinner and the Toyota on board. He's going to try to move by his teammate, Taylor Malsom.
Now remember, just a few laps ago, Mike Skinner, Terry Cook got into it. And those two with great saves early in this race. So Mike Skinner has already been on pit road. Made an adjustment or 2 to that truck.
We heard Mike Skinner's onboard, how he had to pedal the throttle up off that corner.
Skinner's currently running in the 16th position. So we got about 20 laps before our competition yellow. It'll be interesting to see how far he can get back up through the field. You see there going on the outside of Rick Crawford. That's Matt Crafton. He started deep in this field, and he's racing toward the top 10.
Riding along with Chad McCumbee as we look forward to Stacy Compton in that 60. TV.com joining Chad McCumbee for this race and a couple others later on this year.
Stacy's got a little bit of a roll going. 2 top 10s in his last 3 races. Adam, what's going on on pit road?
Michael just mentioned the fact that Matt Crafton is moving through the field nicely. Started 23rd up to 12th, and I guess if you believe in Crafton, you shouldn't be surprised. He told us yesterday this truck just will not qualify, but don't worry. I'll be there tomorrow in the race, and indeed he is, Ray.
Adam, in the qualifying show, I talked with Kyle Busch, and I documented the fact that they've led this race every time he's been in it, but haven't been that strong in a number of them. Well, remember last year they had a transmission problem in this truck, and a year prior to that they had a hood pin come out and had to pit for that. So he said it's been tiny little mechanical things, but each and every time they've come to Dover, he's felt like they had a truck that could win.
Great battle right there for the 4th position. Colin Brown has it. Johnny Sauter with a terrific run here today, battling for that 4th spot.
And Sauter looks like he has the faster truck. He just hadn't found a way around Braun. Now he's to the Brown, he's down to the bottom of the racetrack. Been looking high on Colin, but this time he takes the low road. Looks like he's going to make it work.
Gets past Colin Brown, so Johnny Sauter, teammates to Matt Crafton in that Fun Sand Chevrolet Silverado, making his way up into the 4th spot.
That's the one of Johnny Benson right behind Colin Brown now. There's Chad McCumbee. Here comes Scott Wimmer. Remember that new 13th team we were talking about? That's a battle for 13th. Good showing so far for this brand new team.
Saw Scott Wimmer make the pass. He hugs the bottom of this racetrack. Chad McCumbee going to fall back behind Skinner.
Looks like those adjustments may have helped that 5 truck for Mike Skinner.
Still got to be a little bit concerned not making any more progress than he has, Phil. He's watched Todd Bodine drive into the top 10, and while Skinner's in 14th.
We rode along under caution with this view, looking out the back of Mike Skinner's truck. Take a look at that movement now of the rear end.
I like that shot, huh?
Some of these shots we have, these neat angles like this, kind of scare you as a driver. That stuff's moving around so much, and we put a lot of faith in all those parts underneath these trucks.
Well, just look at the load that that truck is taking when it goes down the corner. See how far that right rear spring is squished down? That's a great shot. Speed TV, baby. Want to know a little bit about a truck and how it races? Tune in.
Todd Bodine takes over the 9th spot from Stacy Compton. Todd on the move.
The trip to pit road has helped Todd Bodine tremendously. He didn't like his truck when the race started. We saw him sideways off turn 3 or turn 4. We said he can't make another mistake. I bet he's...
Caution out, truck.
Oh, point leader.
The wall, and it's Ron Hornaday. Looks as though he might have had a right front problem.
Boy, it sure does. Remember, we talk about tires being the issue today, and it looks like that may have been exactly what happened to Ron Hornaday.
That's the right front tire failure. That has that written all over it, huh, Phil?
Sure does.
Now, NASCAR had scheduled a competition caution at 35, but because we had 3 cautions before that time, they extended it to 45. We've just gotten to lap 35, and we see Ron Hornaday into the wall. It looks like a right front tire issue.
Look how narrow that truck is in the front. He's hit hard.
Yeah, you can hit hard here, and more than likely, that's that could have been a safer barrier. And that's, you still hit hard, but it absorbs so much of the energy, though.
So big damage for our point leader coming in. He had an 84-point lead over Mike Skinner. Let's take a look. This is after contact has already been made.
Right as he dove off into turn 1, looked like the thing just went straight into the outside wall.
And absolutely nothing he could do but just go along for the ride.
You wouldn't think that after we've just saw the Nationwide cars run up to 60-some laps on their tires, you wouldn't think that it could have wore out that right front tire that quickly unless they had a camber issue or something going on in that right front corner. I just don't see how there was enough green flag laps for the tire to wear completely through.
And it's certainly possible that he ran over something
certainly.
As well.
We saw bumper bars and all kinds of parts and pieces slinging around. NASCAR does a great job keeping this track clean, but every now and then something could fall off a truck and cut a tire.
And again, running for another championship. Ron Hornaday looking for 4 championships. You see Lindy sticking her head in there. Ron Hornaday's wife.
That's going to be difficult to fix that truck as hard as it hit the wall.
That's bad.
The Aaron's lucky dog.
How fitting is that? That the Aaron's truck of Tim Bainey Jr. gets the Aaron's lucky dog.
They can. I think you say it. They continue to just give, and give.
Yeah. If you're a lap down and on your credit even, they'll go there and they'll fix you up.
Well, Ron Hornaday is going to need some type of a gift to get back out on the racetrack. We see him out of the truck, and he's going to assess the damage of this truck with Rick Wren, their crew chief.
This is going to be action-packed, Phil. They're going to go to work on this thing like there ain't no tomorrow.
Ray, what's going on down there?
Well, he said the right front was locked, so they know they've got a good bit of damage to the right front there. But, guys, this truck that Hornaday had this weekend was one of the best ever in their stable. Listen to this. It won at New Hampshire, and in 6 other races, 5 second-place finishes. So this thing was an unbelievable truck. They've got a lot of work to do, and real soon we should have pit stops. And, guys, I think this round of pit stops will count as our competition caution.
We'll wait to hear that from NASCAR, but
I don't know about that.
Yeah, they talked about it being at 45, so Let's go back down to Adam Alexander.
And Johnny Benson's group certainly not planning on that. The reason is they're going to come one time, get their 4 tires, make an air pressure adjustment to help what is a tight race truck, and he said plan on coming back in about 10 laps. We'll top it off with fuel then. Ray?
Kyle Busch has had an interesting situation. He's had a loose and tight problem under throttle, so these guys are going to make adjustments for him. Doug George will do it for wedge to help his loose on throttle and air pressure to help his tight through the center of the corner.
You know, the reason that a lot of guys came down pit road, I think, is they want to get their tires now.
Yeah.
And then when the competition caution comes, they'll just put fuel in it.
Right.
The guys that are left on the racetrack will more than likely have to make 2 pit stops on that competition caution in about 10 laps.
Miles the Monster, the name of the monster here at the Monster Mile, has already claimed a few different trucks since the very start of this race. Bumping and banging beginning early here at Dover International Speedway.